Never open this door at 3 a.m. Black screen, no music, just the sound of wind, distant hollow, like something moving just out of sight. Something should never be ignored. A cold chill in an empty room, a whisper when you're alone, the feeling that something is standing just behind you. These are warnings, subtle and quiet. And if you listen, if you pay attention, you might just be safe, but most people don't. Most people brush it off until it's too late. A pause, then faintly, one soft, deliberate knock, then another measured waiting. We don't think about doors very often. They keep things out. They keep things in a simple barrier between the known and the unknown. But doors can also be invitations. Open one, and you might let in something you never meant to. A deep breath, the voice lowers, almost hesitant now, like speaking the words alone might summon something. At exactly 3 a.m., a man heard knocking at his front door. It wasn't frantic. It wasn't urgent, just steady, patient. 3 knocks, then silence. A longer pause, a distant sound of clock, ticking 1 second, then another. He wasn't expecting anyone. He lived alone, and at that hour, in the dead of night, a knock isn't just a knock at a question, a test. What would you do? The knocking resumes, louder this time, insistent, almost knowing. His first instinct was to ignore it, but instincts can be strange things sometimes. They tell us to run. Other times, they make us curious, and curiosity? That's dangerous. He sat up in bed, listened, tried to convince himself. It was nothing, a prank, the wind, a trick of the mind, but then something changed. A barely audible sound, a breath just on the other side of the door. This was no prank. He reached for his phone, checked the security app. The live camera feed loaded slowly, stuttering in the dark, and when it did, there was no one there. The knocking stopped, but the moment he looked away from the screen, his phone buzzed. A text message appears from an unknown number. Just one word, a name, his name. A long, heavy silence, the weight of inevitability. If he had locked his bedroom door right then, maybe things would have ended differently. Maybe he could have pretended it never happened, but instead, he stood up, walked toward the front door slowly, cautiously, and as he did, the air in the room seemed to change. The atmosphere shifts, the sound of something, shifting, subtle, like weight moving across wood. It was colder now, his own breath visible in the dim light. The hallway stretched ahead of him, longer than it should have been. The shadows somehow deeper. A quiet creak, the floorboards settling, or something else. He reached the peephole, hesitated. He didn't want to look, he didn't want to see, but some things pull you in. He placed one hand against the door, leaned in, and then sudden silence. The knocking returns, 3 loud, unnatural bangs. There was someone there right outside. He could feel it. He looks through the peephole. At first, he saw nothing, just darkness, but then movement, something shifting. Just beyond the narrow lens of the peephole, a shape too blurred to make sense of, standing completely still. Then, a voice right outside, saw familiar, whispering, just beneath the narrator's words, "Let me in." And that's when he made his second mistake. A long pause, a single breath. He answered, faint static, a low, distant when the screen fades in grainy nighttime footage of a dimly lit house, alone in the dark. Daniel moved into house 6 months ago, a quiet town, a fresh start. That's what he told himself. He didn't mind the isolation. If anything, he preferred it. No neighbors, no noise, just him along. Empty roads that stretched for miles. A shot of a dirt road at night, the headlights of a single car flicker in the distance before disappearing. The house itself was old, but sturdy, the kind of place that creaks in the wind, where the floors settle at night. He told himself that's all it was, just the house, shifting, nothing more. Daniel worked nights by the time he got home. The world was quiet, wrapped in sleep most nights. He made a quick dinner, check his phone, and fall asleep before sunrise, but some nights, sleep didn't come so easily. The camera lingers on a bedroom clock, the glowing red numbers flick over. 2:59 a.m., a faint breeze rustles through the curtains. That night, something felt different. The air was heavier, the kind of heavy you don't notice at first, not until you're lying there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for something to happen. Silence, a long, drawn-out moment, then knock, knock, knock. Not frantic, not aggressive, just patient. At first, he thought he imagined a dream bleeding into reality, but then knock, knock, knock. It was real. Daniel sits up in bed, blinks, listens, and knocking stops. No one should be here, not at this hour. The nearest house is almost a mile away. He checks his phone. No messages, no calls to security cameras, nothing. Cut to a grainy security cam feed of the front porch, completely still, just the empty road, stretching into darkness. So, who knocked? Silence, the wind picks up, then a voice soft faint right outside the door. Whispering, almost too quiet to hear. "Daniel, let me in." His stomach drops. He knows that voice. A pause, then his phone vibrates. One new text message, no name, just a number he doesn't recognize. "Are you awake?" He stares at it, feels his heartbeat in his ears, then another knock. He should ignore it, pretend he didn't hear, but something about the way they said his name, it's not right. He gets out of bed, slowly moves through the dark house. Past the kitchen, past the living room, the closer he gets to the door, the colder the air feels. He stops a long, heavy pause. Through the peephole, he expects to see nothing, an empty porch, the wind playing tricks, but when he looks, a breath the peephole shows. Nothing, just black, like something is standing there, too close to see. The camera lingers, the sound of something shifting, just beyond the door. That's when he realized the knocking wasn't coming from the outside. Low static hum, the screen fades in. Daniel standing in his dimly lit living room. Staring at the front door, the clock behind him reads 3:04 a.m. At first, Daniel told himself it was a mistake, a lost traveler, a drunk who wandered too far from town. Maybe even a prank. It wouldn't be the first time kids mess around with houses on the outskirts. He reaches for his phone, scrolling absently, trying to push away the gnawing unease, but his screen is blank, no calls, no texts except the one from earlier. The text, he almost forgot about it. He clicks on it, rereading the message. "Are you awake?" No name, no number he recognizes. His first instinct is to ignore it, block the number, but then... Knock, knock. It's softer this time, not demanding, not rushed, just waiting. A long pause. Daniel exhales, gets up, checks the security camera again. Cut to grainy security footage of the front porch. The dim glow from the porch light flickers. Slightly the road behind it is empty. Absolutely nothing is there. His stomach tightens. Maybe they left, maybe it was all in his head. But then something catches his eye. On the footage, the porch light sways slightly. The wind isn't strong enough for that. Then the dog. The camera angle shifts. Daniel's dog, Murphy, a large German shepherd, is standing frozen at the edge of the hallway. His ears are pinned back. His fur bristling. He stares at the door, but refuses to go near it. Daniel frowns, calls him Murphy, doesn't move. Murphy wasn't a skittish dog. He wasn't scared of thunderstorms, fireworks, or strangers, but that night he wouldn't go near the door. Something was wrong. Then Daniel noticed something else, his breath. He exhales slowly. A thin cloud of condensation lingers in the air. He touches his arms. Goosebumps. His skin is ice cold, but why? The heater was on. He checked it before going to bed. A glance at the thermostat. The glowing numbers flicker. It's dropped 10 degrees in the last 5 minutes. That didn't make sense. A slow, rising dread creeps into his chest. He swallows. Tries to shake it off. This is ridiculous. He's being paranoid. It's late. He's tired. He just worked a 10-hour shift. His brain is playing tricks on him. He double-checks the door. Locked, deadbolt, secure. He glances one last time at Murphy, who is still standing in the hallway, still staring at the door. Daniel sighs, rubs his temples, and heads back toward his bedroom. The moment he turns his back, the knocking stops completely, like it was never there at all. Daniel climbs into bed, pulls a blanket over himself, tries to relax. The house is silent now. No knocking, no whispers. Maybe it really was nothing. His eyes grow heavy. His body sinks into the mattress. Sleep starts to take over. But just before he drifts off, there's a sound, very faint, almost too quiet to notice. A soft, slow creak, like a door opening. Daniel's eyes snap open. The screen fades in. Daniel lie in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. The red glow of his alarm clock reads 2:58 a.m. Daniel didn't sleep, not really. He told himself the noise last night was just the house settling, that the drop in temperature was just a fault in the thermostat. But deep down, something didn't feel right. He swallows hard, forcing himself to breathe evenly. The room is deathly silent. Murphy is curled up at the footbed, but his ears are twitching, alert. Daniel closes his eyes for just a second, until he hears it. Knock, knock. His stomach drops. He already knows what time it is. The alarm clock clicks over 3 a.m. Daniel throws the blanket off and sits up. He doesn't turn on the light. He just listens. Knock, knock. He grips the edge of the mattress. His breath shallow. It's exactly the same as last night, the same slow, patient knocking, not hurried, not demanding, just waiting. He checks the security monitor from his phone. The front porch is empty, no movement, no wind, no sign of life. Then something new, a whisper so quiet at first, he almost thinks he imagined it. "I see you." Daniel's blood turns to ice. The voice is soft, gentle, right outside the door. It doesn't sound angry. It doesn't sound threatening, but it sounds wrong. Murphy lifts his head, growls low in his throat. Daniel's body locks up. His heart is hammering. His skin is cold. His mouth dry. He doesn't move. He doesn't blink. He barely breathes. A full minute passes, and another. The whispering stops. The knocking stops. The house is silent again. Finally, after what feels like hours, Daniel gets up. He forces his legs to move. He tiptoes to the door. Barely breathing, he presses his eye to the peephole. Nothing, just the porch, empty and still. The next morning, Daniel doesn't go to work. He doesn't sleep. He spends hours on his laptop, searching for anything, any explanation. He started with rational theories, maybe a prowler, maybe sleep paralysis, maybe stress, but nothing explained the voice, the drop in temperature, the way Murphy reacted. Then, by chance, he stumbles upon something, an old urban legend, a warning. Never open your door at 3 a.m. He scrolls further, pulse racing. People from all over the world had reported the same thing, the knocking, the whispering, the empty security footage. The pattern was always the same: first night, knocking second night, a voice third night. The door opens. Daniel's stomach turns. There was one rule repeated over and over in every story. Never acknowledge it, never interact, never check the peephole. Daniel leans back, running a hand over his face. It's already too late. He already broke the rule. That night, Daniel doesn't just sit and wait. He takes action. He sets up a second security camera. This time outside. Facing the front door, he double-checks the locks, barricades the door with a chair, and keeps a knife within reach. The clock ticks 2:59 a.m. His chest tightens, his hands tremble. He grips his phone, watching the live feed. Then, exactly at 3 a.m., the camera feed glitches. Not static, not interference, just nothing, a black screen. Daniel's breath catches in his throat, his fingers tighten around the phone. Then, just as suddenly as it vanished, the feed comes back. For a second, the porch is still empty. Then movement. A shadow, not a person, not an animal, just a dark shape flickering in and out of the camera's view. It didn't move like a person. It didn't walk. It didn't shift. It just appeared, disappeared, reappeared, flickering like a broken frame of film. Daniel's hands shake. He wants to look away, but he can't. He's paralyzed. Then, at exactly 3 o'clock and 7 seconds a.m., the figure appears inches from the camera. No face, no features, just blackness. The camera glitches again. Then the knocking starts. The screen is almost completely dark. A single red glow from the alarm clock reads 2:59 a.m. The air is thick, heavy, suffocating. Daniel didn't think it could get worse. He thought the knocking, the whispers, the shadow on the camera, that was as far as it would go. He was wrong. The clock clicks over 3 a.m. the moment it does. Boom, boom, boom. The knocking is different this time, louder, harder, angrier, the sound of flesh and bones slamming against the wood. Murphy yelps, scurrying under the bed. Daniel's heart slams into his ribs. He bolts upright, every nerve in his body on fire. Boom, boom, boom. The entire doorframe shakes. The chair he wedged against it scrapes forward an inch. The knocking wasn't patient anymore. It wasn't waiting. It wanted in. And then, in between the pounding, the voice returns. It doesn't whisper this time. It doesn't beg. It says only one thing. "Daniel, open the door." Daniel's stomach clenches so hard he feels like he's going to be sick. The voice is wrong. It's not raspy or inhuman. It's not something out of a horror movie, no. It sounds normal to normal, like someone he knows. He stares at the door, hands clenched into fists. It's just a voice, just a sound. He tells himself that over and over. Then his phone buzzes. He flinches so hard, he almost drops it. His breath is ragged, shaking slowly. He looks down at the screen. A text message. "Brother, I'm outside, open up." Daniel's breath catches his brother? That doesn't make sense. He blinks down at the message, his mind racing. Then he remembers. His brother is out of town. Hours away, no way he could be here. His fingers tighten around the phone. His mouth goes dry. Boom, 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 the pounding shakes the hinges. And then silence. The whole house holds its breath. The knocking stops. The voice stops. The wind outside seems to stop. Daniel doesn't move. His ears ring. The only sound is the pounding of his own heart. He forces himself to take a step back. Then another. His body is tense, coiled, ready to run, but he has nowhere to go. Then something catches his eye. His head turns slowly toward the hallway mirror, and his blood turns to ice. Because in the mirror, the door is open, wide open, and something is standing behind him. A shape tall, black, featureless, but not empty, not hollow. It is there, and it is watching him. Daniel's breath shudders out his chest. He can't move, can't think. His mind is screaming at him, but his body won't respond. Then the thing tilts its head and steps forward. Black screen silence, then a loud, gasping breath. Daniel's eyes snap open. He jerks upright, chest rising and falling, his skin slick with sweat. The room is dark, still, unmoving. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. His mind was swimming, memories scattered, heart hammering against his ribs. And then it hit him. The mirror, the door, the thing. Daniel whips his head toward the hallway mirror. The air is thick with tension, his pulse roaring in his ears. But the reflection is normal. The door is closed, locked. The house is silent. No sign of the shadow, no knocking, no whispering. Just him alone. Had it been a dream? Daniel's fingers tremble as he grabs his phone. The screen glows in the dark. He swipes to a security app, pulling up the footage from a night before. He scrubs back to 3 a.m. His stomach tightens. His mouth goes dry. He presses play. The video starts. The grainy black and white feed flickers slightly but remains clear. He sees his front door sealed, unmoving. No one is there. No knocking, no pounding, no shadows. He fast-forwards 3:01, 3:02, 3:03. The door doesn't move. Nothing happens. Daniel lets out a shaky breath. Maybe it really was in his head. Then 3:15 a.m. The screen glitches. A single frame flickers in and out. A single second of footage. He almost misses it. His stomach twists. He rewinds, plays it frame by frame. And then he stops. His blood turns to ice. Because there in that single frame is a photo, a still image, a blurry, distorted snapshot, and it's not his door or his hallway. It's of his bedroom. Of him sleeping, his body tangled in the sheets, his face slack, unaware. And standing over him is the shadow, tall, watching right beside his bed. Too close. Too real. His fingers go numb. The phone nearly slips from his grasp. His pulse is erratic, sweat pooling at the base of his neck. That's impossible. He never left his room. The door never opened. He would have heard it, would have felt it. But the footage doesn't lie. It was in the house. With him. Daniel doesn't wait. He shoves his phone into his pocket, grabs his keys, his wallet, his dog. He doesn't pack. He doesn't stop. He just leaves faster than he's ever moved in his life. The night air is freezing when he steps outside. The wind howls through the empty streets. The house looms behind him, silent, watching. Murphy whimpers in the passenger seat. As he starts the car, Daniel grips the steering wheel, so tight his knuckles turn white. His mind is screaming at him, don't look back, just drive, just go. So he does. Tires crunch over gravel. The house shrinks in the rearview mirror, swallowed by the dark. He doesn't know where he's going. He just knows one thing. He is never coming back. The final line. Days pass. In a week, he rents an apartment across the city, somewhere far from the house, far from a memory. He doesn't tell anyone why. He should feel safe, should feel relieved. But every night, at exactly 3 a.m., the knocking comes. Soft, patient, never urgent. A gentle tap, tap, tap at his new front door. Daniel moved out the next day, but the knocking never stopped. Screen fades to black silence, then one final knock. Dark screen silence, then the faintest sound of breathing, shallow, ragged, unsteady. Text appears on screen. 2 weeks later, Daniel sits at his desk, eyes hollow. Dark circles etched beneath him. His laptop screen casts a cold glow across his face. Murphy lays at his feet, ears twitching, restless. The apartment is quiet, too quiet. The knocking never stopped. Every night, 3 a.m. without fail. But he never opened the door, never looked. He knew better now. Daniel's fingers hover over the keyboard. His search history is a mess, pages upon pages of folklore, old police reports, missing persons cases. One article catches his eye, his stomach tightens, he clicks. The headline: Local man disappears from locked home. No signs of forced entry. His breath stalls. The story is almost identical to his own. A man, a lone rural home, 3 a.m. knocking. He reported it to police. Until one day, he just vanished. The house was locked from the inside. No prints, no sign of a struggle. Only one thing left behind: a mirror facing the front door. Daniel's stomach drops. He scrolls down, his pulse quickening. And then, the last photo in the article. It's grainy black and white surveillance footage. The final frame ever recorded in the man's home. A still image, the man standing in front of his hallway mirror, looking into it. And behind him, a tall, faceless shadow inches away. Daniel slams a laptop shut. His hands are shaking. He sucks in a breath, trying to steady himself. That's when he hears it. Tap, tap, tap. The knock is so soft, so gentle, that for a moment, he convinces himself he imagined it. His phone vibrates a text. Unknown number. I see you. His throat tightens. His fingers grip the phone so hard they ache. And then, his bedroom mirror shifts just slightly, a fraction of an inch, as if something behind it had moved. Daniel's blood turns to ice. He can't breathe. He can't move. The knocking was never at the door. It was always coming from inside. Screen fades to black silence. Then, one final, louder knock. Black screen silence. Then, faint, raspy breathing, like someone just on the other side of the screen. Daniel moved out the next morning. He never told anyone what really happened that night. Because how do you explain something that shouldn't exist? Pause. A soft, almost imperceptible whisper slithers into the background noise. It's impossible to tell what it's saying, but it's there. But the knocking, a single, slow, deliberate knock echoes. That never stopped. The screen subtly glitches, almost as if something is watching. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard knocking at your door late at night? What if I told you it wasn't random? A brief flicker of text distortion appears on screen. Too fast to fully read, but something about it feels wrong. If you ever open a door to nothing but darkness, tell me in the comments below. And if you didn't, beat a second, louder knock shakes the audio slightly. Maybe you should start listening more carefully. Tell me your story. Have you ever experienced something you can't explain? A whisper when you were alone? A shadow in your room? I read them all. The text distorts briefly. A hidden message flickers again, but this time more sinister. An audio anomaly. A breath, maybe a chuckle, plays in the background, almost undetectable. If you made it this far, hit like, subscribe, but most important, whatever you do, the next time you hear knocking at 3 a.m., the screen glitches violently, audio cuts out. Do not open the door. Final loud knock, silence. The screen fades to black, then static, a scrambled voice message plays. Heavily distorted, broken words barely audible. The words. A new headline appears, almost like an emergency broadcast screen. Coming next, the man who answered a phone call from his own number and was never seen again. But for a split second, another hidden message appears beneath it, barely visible. The distorted voice returns. Only one word, before the video abruptly ends.